So have you listened to the new Taylor Swift?
Yes.
The new Taylor Swift?
Yes, Evermore.
When did you listen to it?
Yesterday on my way to and from work.
Oh. I guess it's a medium drive. Do you like it?
I do. Yeah, it's good.
What I was hearing is that it's not quite as good as...
I don't think I can say it's not quite as good as Folklore, Folklore, but it feels a little less cohesive. Folklore was it feels very samey, and this has like a little more variety. So
it is, December 14th?
It's when this is coming out. Yeah.
And I have yet to listen
15
to Folklore.
Okay.
It's not like, I mean, it's on purpose, but I'm not boycotting or anything, but I just was like, I want to sit down and listen to it. And I just have not been like, I'm in the mood for black and white Taylor Swift. Like, that hasn't.
I mean.
And so I got like hard in trouble by Dan because I confessed he was like in the top 2% of her listeners.
Oh, okay.
And I confessed that I hadn't listened to it yet. And so I'm getting like daily messages where he's like, we're waiting. And so I'm going to go through. I've heard Cardigan.
Okay.
Which was fine. And then
it's not my favorite on the album.
I heard the Great Gatsby one and I really liked that one.
Gatsby one?
I don't know. It's talking about like the last great family.
That's not about Gatsby at all.
Oh, I mean, it didn't necessarily. It was literally about Great Gatsby, but that was the vibe it was giving me.
I mean, okay.
And I liked that one. And I think I heard is there something called Epiphany or something?
Yeah, it's one of the later ones.
I think that came on and in my like just suggested and I was like, oh, I like this. And I looked and I was like, oh. So I'm going to try and do like a play-by-play, but now I've got two.
Yeah. I would focus on one at a time.
Well, one after the other.
Don't try to mash them.
Just put on shuffle.
So, don't try to mash them. If you want, my favorite one off Folklore is Invisible Thread.
I saw a comment that said that they were like, oh, she's like gone back to her Safe and Sound from the Hunger Games days. And I was like, I did like that one. That one was good. Yeah. So, well, I'll get to that.
Don't worry, Dan. I listened to both of them. I really liked it.
Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your twice-weekly pop culture podcast where we talk about movie, TV, music, and more. And as always, this is a spoiler show, so you have been warned. We'll probably do a little bit.
We can do a little bit without.
And then we'll throw down a hastily blurted out spoiler warning when it comes time.
You know what our deal is.
So on today's episode, we're going to talk about the new Ryan Murphy Netflix movie musical Prom. Or is it It's the Prom. Adapted to the screen by Chad. I did not read any of these names. Chad
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Begalian,
something like that.
Okay. Adapted to the screen by Chad Begalian, something like that, and Bob Martin from their and Matthew Sklar's 2018 Broadway musical of the same name. I was about to say, I was like, I feel like this just happened. And then
because it was like last year on the parade. Mm-hmm. They did like one of the songs in the parade.
The film stars Meryl Streep, James Corden, Nicole Kidman, Keegan-Michael Key, Andrew Rannells, Ariana DeBose, Tracy Ullman, Kevin Chamberlain, Mary Kay Place, Kerry Washington, and Joe Ellen Pellman. Had a limited release, and now it's on Netflix. It's part of his $300 million Netflix deal. So,
I was like, you're very low energy. Like, what are we doing here?
How do we want to tackle this? I have things to say.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag for me.
Okay, yes.
Out of the gate, number one, it was a mixed bag.
Agreed. I don't think it was a mixed bag for me or you. I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think this is a matter of opinion.
Well, I'm just sort of like, with what would you like to start?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would say for me, the only three people in this movie beyond reproach, four. I'll give four. What's her name? Joe Ellen Pellman, Nicole Kidman, Keegan-Michael Key, and Andrew Rannells. Everybody else that was in the main cast, what?
Was Nicole Kidman in this movie?
But that's
no, I know.
that helps her case.
Sure.
For me.
So, okay, we watched this on Saturday afternoon, and we had already seen a good 24 hours of scuttlebutt on Twitter and gay Twitter, and it's not been panned.
No.
Like, it's not been, and it has like a 67 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, boy, is it. It's not bad. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, we started off, and I would say easily for the first 40 minutes, I was kind of like, this is great. I don't know what people are talking about. And
I'll get there. It's going to get into more of a spoilery territory once we get like past the initial.
Well, let's not fight the organic.
No, yeah.
But I started to ask if we wanted to like record an intro, because I wanted to talk about things that we had heard and then come in and be like whether or not they were like, because I had heard some things that I was prepared to sort of defend and or hand wave, and we started in places.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with James Corden? Because you were very incredulous as to the backlash he was getting yesterday. You were very...
Getting a little hot. Here's the thing. I don't understand the general James Corden backlash. I think James Corden is generally great. I think he's a good time. I like him in movies. I think he's a fun presence. I understand the James Corden backlash in this movie specifically. It's
why
tough. It's real tough. It feels like the portrayal of a gay character from 30 years ago by a straight man. This is some
birdcage shit.
Ooh, it is. And it just is like, it didn't feel, and I mean, God love him. I feel like he tried really hard to like bring some like empathy to it.
Doesn't that make it worse?
Yeah. Because
there was no pathos.
There was no pathos.
The movie thinks there was.
No, because that's what I'm saying is he tried so hard to imbue it with some kind of pathos and empathy for this character. And I believe truly that he feels he did it right. But like, no. Also, we already have Andrew Rannells in this movie doing Andrew Rannells. We don't need James Corden trying to do a cheap version of Andrew Rannells. The real Andrew Rannells is right there.
So when did you turn? Was it almost immediately?
Almost immediately, because he was doing like almost everything that's offensive about straight people playing gay people, where he was like almost a little lispy, and he was very like melodic with his speech cadence. And, you know, I mean, if he didn't throw a limp wrist in there, I would be surprised.
An argument to be made that the character's written that way, but you still, in the year 2020, especially given the show, I really feel like you should pull something out. And so...
Well, we are very much, you don't have to be gay to play gay, but it's like...
Especially when the gay perspective is well...
It's well established and handled in this movie. Yeah. But the problem for me is you don't have to be gay to play gay, but you should be gay to play gay like that.
Or you should be
putting your own spin on it or doing something with it. It was, I don't know, it was almost immediately out of the gate. I was like, this is offensive. This is offensive to me, a straight woman.
No, I'm. It's so funny. I'm surprised. Not real. I mean, I'm not surprised, but it's like that's been the general consensus.
Yeah, I just again love James Corden in general. So this was a misstep, a miscast, and a misstep.
I like him fine. Yeah. I don't watch the show all that much. I liked him in Into the Woods. I've liked him in things. And I cannot, this is a terrible thing to bring up because I cannot remember what she said, but I do remember it was Fave of the Show, Linda Holmes, put her finger on what the thing is with him. Oh. Where she was like, because she was like, he kind of irks me too. And I think she really zeroed in on like the carpool karaoke or whatever, where it's just like, it's this thing. I can't remember, and I don't want to speak for her.
No, it's fine. But yeah, I kind of get
there is something.
There is something about him, and but the thing for me is it's generally easy to overlook because it also, I don't know though, there is something about his eyes where I'm just like, I don't know if I can trust you.
Well, he was heaped upon us in 2014.
He was,
and has not really relented since. Yeah. And so I think that's sort of, he has a answer to a question nobody asked quality.
Well, additionally, is Andrew Rannells the only one? There was not one single other available gay Broadway star that could be in this movie.
Well, it's the kind of thing, he doesn't really act, but it's the kind of thing that it's like, if we're importing British personalities, like, give me Graham Norton any day.
Sure.
Like, I could see Graham Norton doing this.
Yeah.
But that aside, I actually genuinely was enjoying it for the first 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It is the type of movie, it is the type of story, because that's another thing, is I think the story is not very good. I've
been seeing that too. It's sort of weak.
It's also two completely different stories. Yeah. Both of which I'm only half in.
Well, that's the thing.
And so you would think that it would make a whole.
I knew the whole time that this was a Broadway show, but it didn't actually occur to me that this was a Broadway show until there was a literal act break where, like, the first half of the story ended and then we had an hour and 4 minutes
We thought
left.
we were done.
I was like, oh, this is like a really terrible ending for this, but it's over.
Well, I was like, there's going to be a 15-minute, Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, and then it was like, no, there's an entire hour
more movie left than we had been through.
Yeah.
We were an hour and 4 minutes in, and there was an hour and 7 minutes left.
It was just,
And it was one of those things where it just sort of like, again, we were like sort of okay. Like, we're like, this is fine. And both of our stomachs just dropped. Like, I felt the bottom of my stomach just when I was like,
oh no.
But this is the type of story where we're introduced to Meryl Streep and James Corden, Dee Dee Allen, and God knows what his name was.
Barry something.
The reporter just yells at Meryl Streep, Dee Dee Allen, you're a huge Broadway superstar. And so,
thank you for the heavy lifting. I couldn't have carried that knowledge by myself.
But it wasn't even like one of those, like, they couldn't find a way to work it into the conversation. Yeah. He just yelled her, like, motivate or her, like, character description at her. I did enjoy Ryan Murphy's direction.
Yes.
I'm a bit of a stickler for musicals and movie musicals. I
was going to point to Belle and she's gone.
She's right there.
Well, you can't see her anymore, I don't think.
I despise when movie musicals are people just sort of standing around singing at each other. Yeah. And this movie had tons of movement.
Choreography.
The camera was moving.
Yeah.
There was color. There was choreography. Some scenes were more fantastical than others. It's like we weren't dealing with like a hard Chicago here.
No, but
the one, Nicole Kidman's one number, they were in the house, but the house turned into like a fun house, and it's like stuff like that.
And it was very Fosse.
Yeah, I was super into all of that. But story-wise, I wish this movie and story was about a lesbian couple going to prom, and it's not. Mm-hmm. It's this weird sort of Broadway send-up / celebration. And it's like people make jokes about Hollywood. Well, they'll be like, there's nothing Hollywood loves more than itself.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't know nothing till you've been to Broadway. Like the way Broadway.
Yeah. It's the type of thing that I don't want to get into a political debate, obviously, but it's the type of thing that people get so mad about, people from New York and the other coasts, people who might be elite, if you're catching my drift, because it's like these 4 or 5 people,
coastal elites,
from New York City are like, oh my God, Indiana. And they're
probably fair, but they let Indiana
railed on Indiana.
But they made it personal.
So personal.
It wasn't just like bumblefuck.
Yeah.
They were like, you're bad for living here and your wife is ugly. Like,
you're totally right.
Those are lyrics in the second song.
You're totally right. And it just is like, I understand, Indiana is not my first choice for like a vacation or whatever, but it's also like, you've chosen to come here and help this girl from Indiana.
Also, it has a history with Broadway. Gary, Indiana.
So I don't know. That was like it was like they were like, Indiana fucked my wife and I'm gonna tell the world about it. And I was just like, gah.
No, well, they were like, Indiana tried to fuck my wife but couldn't get it up because it's a pathetic little bitch boy. That's what they said.
You're right. Again, you're right.
And the thing is if the entire movie had that searing, wicked bite.
So many parts of it are like saccharine.
It thought,
just like sickeningly heartwarming.
It was trying to have it both ways.
Yeah, and you can't do
which is a Ryan Murphy staple.
It is a Ryan Murphy staple, but it's also that goes through every single character except for James Corden, because they are all, I mean, he's like a narcissist too, but he's like the least horrible, I guess, of them. But the rest of them, Meryl Streep especially, is so self-centered and self-interested, and she's so... it's like an angry play. It feels angry, except for the like 6 moments where it's like the most sickeningly heartwarming thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. I just like, I'm sort of thinking about it where I was like, when Keegan-Michael Key like calls her out.
Yeah.
And her way of apologizing
is doing the thing she's best at.
Well, and it's like she makes the entire thing about herself again, which there was a line early on when she was singing her first song. Did I seriously not write it down? Oh, the This Is Not About Me song. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so she's singing the whole like, this is not about me. And meanwhile, other characters are like cutting in. So at a certain point, what you're hearing as the audience is this is not about what's happening.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Very funny.
Very clever. Had that even remotely. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I suppose it attempts to, but it
doesn't, it's just like most Ryan Murphy things. It does not stick the landing.
But then again, I mean, he's just the director here. I guess, well, he had a heavy presence in, well, no, I mean, he didn't write the screenplay.
No.
But, and that is the thing, that this is my beginning and end with this story. I have not seen it, nor have I even like listened to the Broadway cast recording, so I don't know if it's the same or what. We complained about this recently, and I don't remember. It was like recently. Oh, Euphoria.
Oh, okay.
Where I was like, I'm going to make this personal, and that's not a good way to judge art. But
right.
I was like, I've aged out of this conversation. And so you reach a point.
We did that again in this.
Yeah, you reach a point where, back to one of my, first things I said, I wish it was about the girls going to prom. Mm-hmm. Because not only do we have these 4 horrible Broadway people, and Meryl Streep is Meryl Streep. I mean, she's fantastic, and she's making it work by sheer force of will. Mm-hmm. And it's very good. It's Meryl's world. We're just living in it. But we have these other 4 absolutely baffling characters, the bullies, that are not characters. I mean, there's like a song.
They are, though. They're in almost every scene.
They are so underwritten.
Yeah.
And
okay.
And again, like I was offended at their portrayal, because I was like, you can't tackle something this horrible.
Yeah.
And not say something about it.
I think I know
especially in an ending where everybody's happy and redeemed.
I was going to say, I think I know where you're going, which is that the depths of the horrendous character work in Kerry Washington and the 4 bullies is the delight of the musical numbers does not outweigh the terribleness of their
reminds me
actions.
Of when we were talking about The Craft, and I was like, the whole thing with Rachel True and Christine Taylor.
Oh, I just spit everywhere. Christine Taylor.
And I was like, you just reach a point where, because she's racist. And I was like, that is unforgivable.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're making fun of, it's not like she embarrassed herself at school or something.
Yeah.
Or it's not like she's awkward, or it's not like there was a miscommunication. They're bad people.
Yeah.
Like, they are cruel.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even thoughtless or rude. Like, there's a difference between being rude or careless and being destructively cruel.
Yeah.
And when I realized, because her name was Constance McMillan, right?
Who?
What this plot was based on.
Oh, I don't know, actually. I didn't do research to the inspiration.
I thought something else had happened. And so when I realized this was the story, it was 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's the same plot where basically the state was like, you can't ban her from the prom. So they canceled it. And the state was like, well, you can't do that either. So they just created another party that was not official.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. And none of the people apologized. And it was, and that's what I mean, where I'm like, if you're going to depict this story in any meaningful way, you're going to have to explore the material.
Yeah, the darkness. Which
and
in that,
especially if you're going to redeem any of these people
Yeah.
when they weren't, to my understanding, I don't remember
Sure.
their apology tour, but
Well, the thing too is it's like if you're gonna I feel like you have to pick one lane or the other, because if you want to make a Broadway musical, you have to remove more of that darkness. I feel like if you're trying to make an upbeat Broadway musical,
or make it fun or funny or wicked, which
Yes.
again, they thought they were.
Or else you need to make like a dramatic movie that has a happy ending where people actually come to grips with their demons and like apologize. And
They
are
needed
like,
an actual relationship where whatever the blonde girl's name is needed to literally come up to
Shelby, I think.
And be like,
Her name, she was Kaylee. The other girl was Shelby. Because that scene in the mall food court. Oh my God. Not even when it gets into it, but Andrew Rannells is like, you guys are bad people. And she's like, oh my God, no, I'm not. Right, Shelby? And I was like, oh, it was so weird and awkward. And I was like, not this girl. Not into it.
But out of nowhere, we get the first and only mention of like Christianity, of like the Bible. And I found that entire thing.
Kerry Washington did values and beliefs a lot.
She did, well, which is, a code word, but it was like, I was actually so offended by that because I was like, whether or not you're a religious person, I mean, that's not what we're getting into. That's not what I'm frustrated about. But I was like, it was just so callously handled that he just sang a song about how the Bible, how they're hypocrites. And they like literally it was sort of like the 1940s movies where the guy's like trying to teach a little girl how to tap. And he's like, you start like this. And she's like, you mean like this? Like there was no aha moment.
No.
There was no retribution. Like there was no moment of like no breakthrough whatsoever. She literally was like, oh, I understand. Like, and it never was mentioned again. There was no scene of them in church. There was no pastor character banning everybody from dancing. Sure. Like it was so completely unearned.
Well, it was you literally too. I guess we're into spoilers, so we should.
Yes.
It's fine.
We're a spoiler show. You've been warned.
So the thing is, for me too, we were sitting there and we were both watching it and you paused it and you were like, so help me if they're about to sing a song about the Bible, I will expire in this moment.
I say this with full sincerity. I was triggered.
Yeah, no, same.
I was literally like, I can't do this. I cannot keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I found it exciting when I was 17. I will lay down and die in the streets if it keeps if I keep having to.
If I have to see this for the rest of my life, it's gonna be what kills me.
It will be like Serenity. I will just lie down and expire.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't. I couldn't. And have it both ways is really the epiphany, because we also couldn't figure out, are they good guys? Are they bad guys? Are they rich? Are they down on their luck? Are they famous? Are they washed up? I mean, is Andrew Rannells like a big star? Is he a wannabe? Like every single character.
The thing that was the most incongruous to me is that like, I know that certain people on Broadway make a good or decent living, but I feel like you have to expand beyond Broadway at a certain point to have the amount of money that they are claiming Meryl Streep has in this movie. Like an American Express black card with no limit. I don't think that happens for Broadway people.
Well, I mean, yes, but not people who are down on their luck,
right?
Which the movie is like Patti LuPone, probably, but she's also not like on her last leg the way they keep implying.
She also does TV and movies, and it's implied that Dee Dee does only Broadway, and I just don't think those two, like even Bebe Neuwirth has Frasier money. You know what I mean? Like.
I mean, of course, there's absolute like superstars within the Broadway.
Yeah.
Well, and furthermore, the world is so quickly changing.
Yeah.
there used to be a difference between a movie star and a TV star
and a theater star, of course.
That is not.
No. That's the thing is, like, I believe Lin-Manuel Miranda has an American Express black card with no limit, but it's like
Donna Murphy has Disney money. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
That's the thing, but again, not exclusively Broadway. So it's like that was very confusing to me. Because you were right, down on their luck, and it was like, how are we going to get to Indiana? Well, you can come with me in the non-union Godspell tour bus. And I'm like, do you not have a town car situation?
And again, that kind of throwaway humor is okay if that's what you're doing.
Yeah. The four of them seemed to have this like very deep and established relationship that was never.
It was like a weird shared communal mania.
Yeah, but it was like like a communal mania, but no like actual shared experiences that they had been in together, except for Meryl Streep and James Corden.
Well, it was like they had just crossed paths for a while, or like in Broadway,
yeah. But it was this apparently deeply forged connection that led them all forward to like, I don't. It was very, again, when you said the writing was mediocre and the plot was thin, it was like that was definitely part of it for me, where I was like, do you even know each other's names? Because Meryl Streep did not know Andrew Rannells' name.
Right. She forgot she's worked with him 5 times.
Yeah. And he's been the bartender at Sardi's for how long? And served her how many friggin' drinks? Mezcal blackberry smashes or whatever they were.
I just remember Nicole Kidman's entrance, and she was going full Martian lady. Like Martian, like from Mars Attack.
And I was like, the way I will enter every room from now on.
It was like she was doing like a combination of that in 2003, Kylie Minogue. It was just, yeah. I and frankly, because we made a comment halfway through where we were like, what is the point of Nicole Kidman in this movie? And then not 30 seconds later, she makes a comment about being a chorus girl. Yeah. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And then she has her number, which was also like offensively awful. Like,
I don't know.
A little zazz. It was
weird.
It was bad.
I didn't hate it, but it suited the movie.
Sure.
It like went with this motley crew of weirdos.
A couple of the songs were good, and a couple of them were like the songs you would hear in like TV show where they go to a musical and you can hear them.
Yeah. So I liked the song that she sang and put on YouTube. The girl, I liked that one.
I mean, ever since the trailer came out, I've been going, one thing's universal.
Yeah,
although
that one's good.
It really takes the oomph out of it. That's when they're all at the other prom.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when they are having the mean prom. Yeah.
And I feel like we've been doing this a lot where it's like, we're like, the movie was fine. And then we just
eviscerate it.
Yeah. Just pound on it for like 20 minutes. But I
had a fun time watching it.
I laughed at some of the jokes were funny.
But it was mostly bad. Like,
I don't want to be glib, but it's Ryan Murphy. It just kind of, there's something.
But again, you're right. It's just, he just directed it. He was not involved creatively with this at all.
That was some of...
The direction was fine.
Yeah, that was
great.
What I liked the most about it. I love that it had a solid visual identity. Because I'm always complaining. I'm like, why did this? There was such good use of color and space and shape. Yeah. There was so much color blocking, the use of the sequins. And
well, I think we can also know who's to blame for the sequin shortage that we're inevitably coming up against this movie. Literally everybody in every scene was wearing sequins.
So you had a really hard time with Keegan-Michael Key and Meryl Streep, and I didn't. Keegan-Michael Key is one of those that I'm like, I think I'm a fan of his, and I'm like, no shit, I've watched him since Mad TV.
Yeah.
Like,
I like him a lot. I will say, in early defense of myself, I didn't realize he's almost 50. I just always, he feels like he's in his 30s. To me, always. And I was like, Meryl Streep is 71. This is a problem.
I was gonna say, he passes the test, the have to age plus 7.
Sure. But okay, it's not that I didn't think they had chemistry. They had cute chemistry, and I liked it.
Very appealing.
It was fine. He's very appealing. This is in no way a dig on either of their like ability to appeal to me as a human person. I just, when they kissed, I couldn't handle it. I was not what I wanted.
Well, you were dreading it for a solid hour and 15 minutes.
I was like, if they kissed,
they were like on their
movie,
third scene where you were like, are we doing a romantic thing?
Yeah.
Because you were like, surely not, no.
It really took me off guard, and it shouldn't have, because you mentioned were you not watching The Politician this season, and I definitely was, and I hear you and I see you with the older female romantic leads. I dig it. I'm super into it.
She also maybe has means we don't know.
Yeah. So the thing for me is, I think you put your finger on it when we were talking about it out there, is that it was weirder to me because they're both like basically A-list stars right now. And it's like everybody who was on The Politician was, I mean, I know it's Bette Midler and Judith Light, but they're not like household names for everybody. And it's like everybody knows who Meryl Streep is. And so it was just this really weird, like two very, very
well, and
famous
also
people.
I was like, it's not like a C-list like hunk, which is what they tend to do. Is you have Gwyneth Paltrow and then an up and coming hunk,
like random guy,
Judith Light, and then like some soap opera hunk.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It just was very unsettling to me. I don't know what it was about the two of them specifically.
Well, this movie also had this thing where and
then they just kept kissing during that last musical number.
I genuinely thought that the end, there's like several different points where I thought more characters were going to come out.
Oh.
Like, I thought for the first like 30 minutes of their plot, I was like, he's going to realize with her help that he's gay.
Yeah.
Or even with Alyssa, when she's like coming out to her mom, I was fully prepared for Kerry Washington to be like, I'm gay too. Yeah. And so is your father. That's why he left. Yeah. And I just sort of was waiting for an I Am Spartacus moment where everybody was just gay.
Yeah.
That might have been a better movie.
Maybe. It might have been a better ending.
Yeah. Well, and also, what was with Kevin Chamberlain? Like Sheldon? There were too many characters.
Who are you even talking about?
The older white guy, like the fifth member of this motley crew.
He was like James Corden and Meryl Streep's like manager.
Sure, but why? What did he do? Why was he constantly in this movie?
I don't know.
So I mean,
maybe he has more to do in the Broadway show.
Maybe. Originally, Awkwafina was going to play him, but she had to drop out.
Interesting.
And Ariana Grande was going to play Alyssa. Yeah. So it's a 1-2 punch. It's a shot that is inexplicably handheld during the climax. And then we cut to a laughable reaction shot from Nicole Kidman.
But the handheld shot is so jarring. It like all of a sudden turns into like, I don't even know what.
Well, I was going to say, I do know that production got shut down during COVID. So I could see that was one of the things that made, and like they
like
were
one weird pickup shot.
They were almost done, or maybe they had like, that was the only footage they had to make that scene work.
Weird pickup shot where Ryan Murphy's DP was like, I've got steady hands, boss. And it's like, you fucking don't. It was totally baffling.
It took us both out. So
it was like weirdly a shot from that movie Crash for like 1 second, and I was just like,
I also did not need Tracy Ullman.
No.
I mean, didn't.
It was whatever. It was fine.
She wasn't bad. That's not criticism. But I was like, I didn't need that plot. I didn't need for this to suddenly be about Barry Glickman. Like, that's
the thing, is it goes back to the James Corden thing where it's like, why are we having James Corden come out to his mother, Tracy Ullman? What is this serving? What
like this movie is about Meryl Streep, James Corden, and then Emma.
Yeah.
Like the movie thinks those are the main characters. And it's like,
yeah.
Two of them are, but
yeah.
No, yeah, I didn't need the four. I didn't need Meryl, James, Nicole, and Andrew Rannells at all. I would have watched a movie about a small town.
Same.
Like
me too. 100%. Because it also is like they have such selfish motivations for the whole thing. And
like, let the blonde girl be the villain. Like, I don't understand. Like,
and Kerry Washington really gave this role her all.
Yeah, 1-2 punch. Like, when we met Alyssa Green, I was like, oh, I like her. And then in the very next scene, we're like, oh, wait, is she the love interest? Is she the girlfriend? From that moment on, I had no feelings towards her.
Yeah.
She actively, I just was calling her Harper from Happiest Season.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sympathetic towards her. I didn't find her interesting. And when they get into the fight and she uses that as the opportunity to sing a pretty song about how her life is hard. And I was just sort of like, I don't care. I wanted Emma to run away. Like, it just.
No, I agree. It just was like all it was all not handled quite right. What?
Deep cut. It's just not very good. I would lie to you, but I would be doing you a disservice.
What is that from?
Get Over It, Martin Short.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where he's like directing them in the play and he's like, it's just not very good.
It's just not very good. Yeah. I wish it had been better. And I think that the bones for it are there.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I had a mostly good time looking at it.
Yeah.
Most of the music, I mean, even the Bible song, I was tapping my foot because it was like
it's very
gospel.
catchy.
It was like an evangelical, like power of Christ.
Yeah.
But he danced in the water fountain, like it was cool.
Yeah.
So that part,
I love Andrew Rannells.
Yeah,
I think he's great.
Like I said, honestly, like I was thinking B-, and now that we've talked so much about it, I think I'm gonna have to put it at like a C, but like a C+. I mean, there's worse.
Yeah.
I might watch it again. My brother might like it. I mean, it depends on what you want. If you just want like silly characters and like song and dance, then it's great. Like if you're not actually trying to get...
I remembered what I was going to say. The thing that sucked about the 4 Broadway characters, and the reason why I think I'm the same as you, they just lift out, is it's like they build up this horrible conflict, which is that the only reason they're going to this town to do this is because they need like public relations help.
Which wasn't as bad as the show treats it like it is.
Well, except that it treats it really badly because Keegan-Michael Key gets so mad at Meryl Streep because that's the only reason that they're there. And then they try to like confess to Emma and she's like, she has no reaction to this like betrayal. And I'm like, is this a bad thing they did or not?
Yeah, it was very strange.
Make up your mind.
Like, I can understand him being like, huh? But it just like, I was like, I mean, it's not good to be like, oh, I was like rehabilitating my image.
But they also no one ever lets them make that final turn because
it's the she's all that conundrum where it's like, but that's before I got to know you. And it's like, at a certain point, I can see being kind of like pissy about it, but it's like, it's not that.
But they don't even let it get there.
Yeah,
it's the thing where they just are like, I can't, Keegan-Michael Key is like, I can't believe you came here just to help your PR image. And it's not, they're like, that was none of the 4 of them is ever allowed to say, well, that is the initial reason why we're here, but we actually legitimately want to help now.
Well, and also because then Nicole Kidman tries to play it off as kismet, where she was like, and then I just found you on Twitter, so it was fate.
Yeah.
But it was like, in the beginning, they said it was trending. Yeah. And so that implies this is national news.
Already.
Which, yeah.
But she refuses to go on the news about it.
Yeah. This was a bad movie.
Yeah, it's not very well written.
I talked myself out of it. I was prepared to sit down and defend this movie. But
the thing is I legitimately feel like this probably does work as a Broadway show.
Probably.
I think there's so much less that's required of you when you're watching a Broadway show because you're already in a heightened experience and you're already in a heightened place. Broadway, like physically, geographically.
It's sort of like, it's almost like a feat of athleticism.
Yeah.
Where it's like
I'm watching an Olympian.
I'm watching an artist perform, where that goes without saying for movies. Yes. Movies are already sort of a creme de la creme.
And so it's like, I need more substance in something like this that's trying to deal with such weighty topics and then doing a very poor job.
And you said you liked her song, but I was like, I thought that was to use one of my least favorite words of the moment, word du jours. I thought it was kind of cringy.
Oh, I disagree. I liked it because I liked how all the other like kids that were gay were.
Yeah, I like how the final prom was just every gay kid in Indiana and then the 4 reformed bullies.
Reformed.
She was so enthusiastic. Like, she was all there. Well, and then Shelby, you're right, because it's like they make it clear that she's the like HBIC. I'll date myself. What is it?
Kaylee? Yeah, the blonde one.
2012. Hello, yes, I'm on Tumblr. They make it clear that she's like the queen bee, but then Shelby has this strange like crisis of character.
Yeah,
Anyways, that's good. That's fine.
All right, well, the Prom's on Netflix. If you feel like it, it is certainly a movie.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Not our fave, but
it's fine.
Whatevs.
Yeah.
All right, well, If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's @SoI'mWatching. One more.
Well, I started to say that I want to start doing the really obnoxious YouTube thing where we react. So I was going to say we could turn it into like our kind of like bit at the end or keep it or what's making us happy or whatever. So I want to be like, let me hold on.
We got to get into character.
Let me come up with my face for the YouTube thumbnail. I guess just like. Is that good?
Good. I did like a. Yeah. Okay. You can follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching, Instagram @SoI'mWatchingThisShow. You can also follow along on our website, soI'mWatching.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button so that you can always see our videos. We have so many.
I'm mad we didn't talk about any of the songs because it's on Netflix, so we could just pull the clips. But one thing's you never. Yeah. We'll get that in the trailer.
Yeah, that'll go there. Other than that, just rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And that's it for us. Bye.